A guy and his dog just saved me from a goddamn witch and her Wendigo. Holy shit, where do I even start? Benny's dead. And Goat. Shit, they're all dead. Except me. All because I had to piss. What the fuck, man? We were out camping near Beck. Thought we'd get one in before snow settles over Colorado tomorrow. It was Goat's idea. He wanted to celebrate something. I can't remember what it was at this point, and we all agreed it would be fun. Something to tell stories about later. I fucking hate that we were halfway right. We hiked up with a bunch of gear and food and beer, and everything was great for the first few hours. But as soon as the sun went down and the darkness enveloped the mountains, things started to get fucking fucked. At first, we thought that we were just too wasted, hearing things, and we all silently agreed to ignore it, pretending that everything was fine. But it finally got to the point where we just couldn't pretend anymore and decided that we'd be better off if we just left then and there. So, we began packing up. But I had to piss, and I said so before walking off into the darkness behind the trees, pretending not to hear the noises echoing around the peaks, a mixture of laughter and screaming and a weird, piercingly high howling sound, like the wind knifing through the needles of pines. That piss saved my life. I had just shaken off when I heard him, something like Petey saying, "Who the fuck are you?" And then more insistent voice, maybe Jones or Goat. "Lady, are you deaf?" And a concerned voice, Tim's. "I think she may be hurt. Are you okay?" Silence for a moment, and then someone shouted, and I couldn't identify the next voice I heard. Hello, goodbye, hello, goodbye, goodbye. Confused, I peeked around the trunk of the tree, half expecting to see something fucked. And I did. There was an old woman standing near the edge of the firelight. She was wearing a yellowish rag, her hair hung lank and limp around her pale face. Her face. It was disgusting. She was grinning from literally ear to ear, and her eyes were fully deep black. She looked like a fucking witch, an actual demonic being of the night. She laughed and then said, "Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye." Tim, Jones, and Petey were the first to go. They just got burnt up in flames 7 feet high. Their screams were ungodly. I've never heard anything like them before. Hope to never again. And the smell, fucking nauseating. I saw their skin bubble and slough off their bones in huge swaths and sinew of meat. The fire was so hot that all their blood just evaporated away with a sinister hiss. When the flames finally died down, 3 unrecognizable burnt bodies fell, shattering into ashes that blew away on the wind. Benny and Goat turned to run, and they almost made it too, but she pointed to them, and suddenly they stopped, freezing in place, their mouths open too fucking wide, their tongues lolling out. Somehow, someway, she had stunned them just by pointing. She cackled, it was gross, and looked over her shoulder. Out of the slits between the trees, a hulking mass walked over. It looked like the love child of Andre the Giant and a hellish elk. For a moment, nothing happened. And then chaos. The antler man ran forward towards Benny and Goat, snorting, screaming. He got to Benny first, impaling him on one prong and lifting him high into the air. Benny slid down slow. His mouth was open, but there was no sound, only a red-tinted thread of drool. Antlerman swung his head to the left and Benny flew off, hitting a nearby tree with a hard crunch. But he wasn't dead yet. I saw him crawl forward, a stream of his guts trailing out behind him, steaming the air. Antlerman took 3 steps towards and stopped right next to Benny's head, lifted a hoof, and smashed it down and down and down, crushing his skull, stirring the brain matter up. And when Antlerman finally turned around, all that was left of Benny's face was a bloody pulp and one eye, perfect, unharmed, blue iris staring blankly up at the stars. Goat was next. He couldn't move, and I could see his eyes rolling around and around with wild fear, trying to see if there was a way out. And then they stopped, right on me. And I knew that he saw me hiding, watching. I moved back a bit behind the tree, peeking out, cringing as Antlerman took a hold of Goat's arms, pulling and not stopping. I heard one resounding pop, then another. Goat's arms dislocating. But Antlerman kept pulling and pulling, and I couldn't tear my eyes away. I saw Goat's arms ripped right off his body, right fucking clean off. But he couldn't move, he just stood there, like some sick phallus, blood pulsing from both sides. Antlerman cocked his left arm back and sucker-punched Goat right in the face, breaking his nose, sending him reeling backwards, and before he even hit the ground, I could see that he was dead. Job done. Antlerman turned back towards the witch, and she shook her head, saying words that nearly made me shit my pants. There's one more, hiding over there. Watching. I think he's enjoying himself. Oh, what the hell? I shat myself. Why lie? I froze for a moment, unable to fight or flee, and then there was this noise. Mechanical. Recognizable, and a guy wearing a goddamn ridiculous as shit mask burst through the trees on a fucking Ducati. Headlights blurring, engine roaring. He came out of literally fucking nowhere. I blinked, ready to jump up, ready to run. But before I could, something soared over me. Something big. 4-legged. A dog. A huge goddamn dog. There was a booming noise and I realized the gas mask man was firing a shotgun whilst the dog beside him barked. The blasts from the shots were amazingly bright and lit up the entire area with severe fluorescent-like glow. Suddenly, the dog shot off, running low to the ground straight towards Antlerman, leaping up and latching onto his arms. Gas mask reloaded, then swung the shotgun swiftly towards the witch and fired again, hitting her in the chest 4 times, making her stagger back, screeching. Next to her, the dog was ripping and tearing at Antlerman, pushing him back towards the trees. Off the bike now, Gasman slugged the shotgun over his back and grabbed a pistol from his belt, firing the whole clip and shouting, "Hocus pocus that, you bitch!" And the witch fled. Antlerman immediately followed. The dog charged after them, baying loudly. I heard a loud, horrific bugle, like an elk dying and something large crashing to the ground. Gasmask whistled. High, low, in between, and after a few seconds, the dog burst through the brush, panting, covered in blood and guts. It looked like it was grinning. It trotted up to the man and he leaned forward, patting it on the head once, twice, and I heard him mutter, "Good girl." I said, and Gasmask looked up at me, like he forgot I was there. "Oh," he said. "Yeah, shit. You better run." Behind me, I heard the witch's laughter boil up again, weaker, wavering. The dog growled, crouching low, hackles high. The man pulled some shells from his pocket, reloaded and cocked his shotgun, then repeated, "Run. We'll take care of this." And I did. I ran. And I fucking ran. Made it back to the car, heard the shotguns firing behind me and screaming and howling. No laughter, though. Currently on my way to report this. I hope to hell they'll believe me. I don't even know if I fucking believe what happened. That guy, that dog, the motherfucking witch, and the deer dude. What the fuck just happened?